Hello, you guys, and welcome back to this new episode of Full Plate of Pasta. I really, though, should do an ASMR episode because wouldn't that be hilarious, fun, cool, and on brand with the fact that this entire episode is about the fact that I don't know how to run a podcast. And I thought it'd be very fun to have a little conversation with you guys today. And no, I'm not actually kidding. That is what this episode is about. I have had an awakening. Not really like an awakening like that, but I have had kind of a couple moments over the last week or so. If you guys don't know, last week I talked a little bit about my retreat and going to Breckenridge and how I planned that and everything else. And I told the girls I was going to launch an episode on that. And they're like, oh, we love that. It's such an amazing topic. And when I came back from that retreat, I had a lot of clarity on new direction for By the Blazer. I have another business coming in the next month. And then I was like, okay, so what about the podcast? Because I am not excellent at filming. I'm not excellent at capturing moments, doing things. I do not optimize content and social media the way that I should. And so the podcast was kind of a way to bring you guys behind the scenes of things and also just add fun into your week. Because I feel like a lot of podcasts are always really heavy. It's things you have to go do to be successful, or it's why you shouldn't be, taking Tylenol, or it's a very hot topic right now, or why you can't do blah, 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 or shaming an influencer. I feel like content in general is so fucking heavy. And I was Full Plate of Pasta for me was about throwing your hair up in a bun, sitting on a couch, because yes, I do eat spaghetti, red sauce spaghetti on my couch. One of my friends the other day was what the fuck are you doing? I do not care. I have all white furniture, literally custom made. I will eat spaghetti on this couch. Throwing your hair up, drinking a glass of wine, chewing pasta, chilling with the girlfriends, watching a movie. It was really about this casual energy. It was this very girly, fun, sisterly shitting the shit on the couch, shooting the shit on the couch. See, we even keep the bloopers in. We even keep my fucking statements that aren't even perfectly curated. I leave them in. I don't know if you guys know that we do not edit out anything in the podcast. I don't cut things. I don't edit out things. It's a very raw, real podcast. This is how I talk with my friends. This is how I am. So I left this retreat and I had clarity in all these different buckets except for the fucking podcast. I was okay, what do I do with the podcast? What's the direction? And I was actually talking to one of my girlfriends today. And I also have been kind of feeling this, but combined with feedback from one of my best friends, direction that Lexi and I were talking about, and then also my own belief, I was I really feel the podcast needs to feel almost vlog style, a little bit more casual. What would it look like if the podcast was me sitting in pajamas on the couch, which was funny enough, part of our original idea. I wanted to use up all my really nice sleeper set pajamas. I own a lot of bougie pajamas. And I was I want to sit on the couch in pajamas. I want to cross my legs and I want to shoot the shit with you guys. And so that was part of it. I was I feel it's too podcasty where it's the mic and the this and just, I don't like that. And then part of it's the branding. I got a lot of feedback at the beginning that the branding was too brand, not podcast. And I was no, I want it to be a vibe. I want people to be oh my God, this is a vibe. And the podcast became very podcasty there. And I'm don't like that. And then one of the other thoughts was, one of my good friends gave me this feedback. And she was I feel you need to choose 4 or 5 kind of general themes. And you need to do less guest experts, not because we don't love you guests. We love the guest experts. But sometimes, when you're listening to a podcast by someone you like and they bring in a guest expert, it's a pivot, right? I want you to imagine that you're watching Gilmore Girls, right? You're watching Gilmore Girls for an entire fucking month. And then all of a sudden you go and watch I don't even know, Vampire Diaries, totally different fucking category, totally changes the way, or even something crazier, you and Gilmore Girls are so fucking not even close to the same type of episode. It would be very disruptive. And I was thinking about that and I kind of had this aha moment later this morning where I'm people listen to me shoot the shit. It's not curated. There's no real style. It's very, I don't want to say off the cuff, but it is. I don't really do a lot of scripting for these episodes, and that was very intentional. I wanted the episodes to feel very raw and real and chill. And then when we do a guest, even though I do think I'm very natural and it's not overly scripted, it's a little too tell me about your journey and tell me about this and give the guests some information on this, because I wanted to bring value to you guys. But what I actually think would be more valuable is what if we brought guests on where it's we are discussing things together. It's almost either a debate or it's us discussing how we both view something versus like interview style. Because here's the deal, is like, I'm not Call Her Daddy. I'm not having fucking Miley Cyrus sit on a couch and tell me about like what it was like to leave Disney Channel. Like I'm not really giving you guys like an inside scoop on like a celebrity or someone you already have like an understanding of already. I'm really bringing in people that you probably don't know. You probably have never heard before. You might love them, but wouldn't it be fun instead of like, I'll give an example of like bookkeeping, right? Not a very exciting topic. I could bring a bookkeeper on and we could talk about bookkeeping. And you guys liked that episode actually. And I could give you an indication of bookkeeping and how that person's pivoting their business, or like, why do you need a bookkeeper? And that's all like good information. But wouldn't it be more fun if we both sat together and I was like, okay, I want to talk about bookkeeping and like why I've never hired a bookkeeper. Like, tell me why I'm wrong. Like, wouldn't that be more fun? Wouldn't that be a more interesting conversation? Or like, these are the financial mistakes I made in business. What would a bookkeeper do to fix that? So it's like almost not even like an interview. It's like a combined discussion. And I think that's going to be like more fun. So we're going to be kind of changing the way that we're doing guest expert episodes, where it doesn't feel like an interview. Again, I feel like I do an okay job of not making those episodes feel like an interview, but they do feel a little more structured, especially on like Zoom calls. There isn't just that like shooting the shit collaboration vibe. And I really want guest experts to feel immersed into the podcast versus like just being a guest expert on the podcast, if that makes sense. It's like almost like I want Full Plate of Pasta to be like a world. And that's what we're doing with By the Blazer. I really want it to be like a world, like the By the Blazer world. I want Full Plate of Pasta to be its own world. And then we have another business that I am working on launching. I'm like, that needs to be its own world. Like, I want them to be brands. I want them to be this immersed experience where you're coming in and it's like, I know what to expect. And that's really like my feedback for myself is when I think about the podcast, I'm like, I don't think people know what to expect. I think people might like the way that I talk. I don't know why, but whatever. They might like that. They might like the insight of my business. I think that you guys really like episodes where I talk about like my habits and routines and how I like manage it all, because that's very difficult to like teach in like a lesson or a training. You kind of have to like hear it and hear it in a lot of different ways. So yeah, so that's how we're going to be kind of switching the guest expert episodes. And then one of my other thoughts was, what if we create like 4 or 5 main themes? So what if we had like a behind the scenes episode where I bring you behind the scenes of like maybe handling something really crazy in business, or like a month in my life or something like that, or like a morning, like how do I handle my mornings? How do I bring in sales on a day where I didn't even post? Like, what does that look like? Or, you know, behind the scenes of launching the business, which is actually something I want to bring you behind the scenes of like next week. So what does that look like? What does it look like to, I don't even know, like just like the things that are happening on a day-to-day, how can I bring you behind the scenes? So that's probably going to be a theme that we're going to talk about, maybe more like Q&A. So if we could do that like once a month, I really want to like answer questions and give you guys like my thought, and then comparison of, do you do this? Do you do this? Like, what's the pro and con of both? I don't know. I just feel like a lot of like super interesting alignment in the podcast, because to be very honest with you guys, about a month ago, I was like, I have 2 options with the podcast. If you guys are a client of mine, you know I always do 2 options. It's like, choose here or choose here. Choose a pathway, don't fucking care. Both have their pros and their cons. One is we don't do the podcast. One is that I say, this was fun, I liked it, cool, great, but it costs money to run. I don't feel like I've really found my groove in the podcast. I've just not done a great job. We're done. Or I go all in and I just do it the Ashley Bennington way. And one of the things that I was sharing with my clients today, you guys know in By the Blazer, I have a mastermind called DBM. It's literally the most insane space, incredible space. I love it so much. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's great. I could talk about it forever. But I was messaging them about like doing things your own way. And one of the things that I think really helped me in my business journey was really just staying in my lane. I did the branding the way I wanted. I did my content style the way I wanted. Even her 7-figure story, my first business, I would lay on the couch. I would literally take my phone. This is why I kept my phone with me for this episode. You're welcome. Here's my prop. And I would talk to the camera like this. I would literally have my fucking phone like 8 inches from my face. And I'd be like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Like whatever. I would scream at the camera. And that made me like millions of dollars. Like, why did I feel like I needed to have like the light and like you guys are typically sitting on genius, but you conform to what other people want you to do because like that's typical. Like it's typical of a podcast to do this style of content. It's typical for this to do this style. I'm like, what if my idea is actually better? And worst case is we try it, it doesn't do well, and then I conform. But what if I should like lean in a little bit? And I think that's what I've always done in business. It's what I've always done with my brands. I've always kind of had like different viewpoints and ideas, and innovation is such an important pillar for me in By the Blazer. If you guys know our framework, like the last pillar is innovation. And I've been pretty pussy-like in that category of innovation. I've really not leaned in. I've really not like owned that as much this year. And I think like Lexi and I were talking earlier, year 1 in business is just hustling. Year 2 is like refining. And year 3 is like an identity crisis. I have had such an identity crisis this year. Welcome to my TED Talk. And that's, I think what I've also been doing is the identity crisis has lacked the innovation, the new ideas, the fresh perspectives that I think the first 2 years of businesses. And I think that's why this podcast has kind of been like a journey of almost like losing my innovation from the start. I feel like when I launched the podcast, I had such a cool way of doing things. We had weird ass names. We had all this. And I'm not saying that those things shouldn't have been switched. Like no one knew what the fucking episodes were about. Like woman, I am woman, hear me roar. What is that about? We don't know. Kumbaya circle, no idea. Definitely needed to tighten up the names a little bit. And then we changed up the style a little bit. But I think I went like 2 left. It was like we were in like lane A. And I always say this about business. You guys are in lane A and then you have a coach, you hire a coach. And instead of just like upgrading the car in lane A of like, okay, we're gonna like tighten this up so we drive quicker, or like we have a better engine, or we have a better steering wheel, or I don't even know car parts, right? Like you guys are over in this lane, you're in lane A. Instead of upgrading the car to be a better, more intentional, more effective, faster version of yourself, you like, the driver's wheel. I love these sound effects. I hope you guys enjoy this if you're ASMR people. See, I told you, ASMR. Whatever, here we are, ASMR. But if you guys, I sound like I'm like crazy, Lexi. People are gonna be like, is she like all right on this podcast? But you guys like literally go all the way to the other side. It's like you completely change and then you try to like drive on a completely different road and you're like, oh my God, I feel like I'm like lost. I feel like my identity is gone. I feel like I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing because you pivoted so fucking far from one side to the other. And I think that's what I did with the podcast, which is funny because I just all the time say, don't do this in business. And here I've done it on the podcast. So really this episode was just a little quickie, because I wanted to just tell you guys that I fuck up a lot. And I think with the podcast, there's been things that I'm like, first of all, so happy with. Certain things I really love. Some of the ideas I've really loved. I'm really proud. We've lasted an entire year. Most podcasts are done after 2 or 3 episodes, sometimes like a month. If you've done an X amount of episodes, you've like been in the top 1% of podcasts. But I'm like, I don't want to just be top 1% of podcasts because I was fucking consistent. Because let's be honest, like I am a type 3, Enneagram 3 Leo. There's no fucking way I'm going to do something just so I can get a shiny medal from like the podcast academy of like, thanks for posting for a year. Like, I just don't fucking care. I want women to be like, I want your merch. I want women to be like, come, let's do a full plate of pasta pajama night at a theater. Like, I want like the big, crazy community and the connection and that. And I'm not really going to get that if I don't lean in to creating that and fostering that with the content that I'm creating with the podcast. And so you're going to be seeing a lot of shifts from me on the podcast. You're going to be seeing some shifts on my personal content already in the works. And I'm not really going to be conforming to what other people are telling me to do just yet. If in 6 months I am way off fucking base, I will take that feedback. I will refine. But I think right now I just kind of my like word for the last week has been dick around a little bit. I think I just need to dick around a little bit. Also, I hope that this podcast I can curse because I keep realizing that like podcasts, when you put them out, I feel like if you have too much language, right? But maybe not a podcast. I don't know. I should know that since I run my own podcast. But I don't know. I always say that. I feel like I, throw in the words. But I have been dicking around a little bit in business, and podcast I think is next. And then this new business I think is going to be coming at a really cool time to kind of bring in that innovation, creative zone energy again. So I'm really excited to bring you guys behind the scenes of that. And I think that will be really fun. So that is all going to be coming soon. My ask for you all, my beautiful, beautiful people, is if you guys listen to the podcast kind of regularly, like maybe you've listened to a couple episodes, maybe there's a certain episode or two that you found me on and you're like, I went down the rabbit hole and I really like this. If you could just shoot me a little message, just a little, hey Ash, I need to send you a little message. I need to talk to you. Why? Why that episode? Was it the casualness? Was it the honesty? Was it the digestibility? I feel like is a good word to use. Was it that it was so easy for you to take something and run with it? Was it something I've never talked about? Was it more personal? Was it more professional? Do you just want me to like literally talk about business every episode? I ask for a lot of feedback from you guys because I do actually, 1, give a shit, but also 2, I think you're going to see more of a theme in the content that we're going to be moving forward. And I really just want you guys to feel like you contributed to that theme coming to fruition. So basically what I'm saying is speak now or forever hold your peace, because some changes are coming and I'm excited to bring those to you guys for the next episode. So I do hope that you guys enjoyed kind of this little snippet, if you will say. It is currently almost October of 2025, and 2025 I thought was gonna be like the greatest year of my life. 25 was my lucky number growing up. And all I'm gonna say is this year has genuinely been a clusterfuck. So I'm very excited about October, because October means like longer coats. I'm very excited about November because that will be even longer coats. And then December and January, I will be hiding in my beautiful new office, prepping for a expansive as fuck 2026, because I read on some fucking piece of paper somewhere about Leos that 2026 was going to be a massive year. And I think that everything that I'm going to be doing in September and October and November are going to really set the tone for what 2026 is going to bring. So I think this is perfect timing to bring you guys a little bit of new creativity, a little bit of new fun. So if you guys have any thoughts on what that looks like, you know where to find me.